Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna have our first look at Dungeon Alchemist. So it's not exactly a game per se. It's an AI powered dungeon maker. Yes, AI powered dungeon maker. But unlike the creepy AI that's in everything else, this is not. Basically, this is theming based off of artificial intelligence and our selections in the game. So it's not reading our minds, it's not doing things, it's just based off the drop downs that you start out with. So we chose grasslands, and then we're choosing the room type to be village. But again, that's not anything that you're locked into in this scene. You can change this to your whim. And right now we're working in the village theme because that's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create kind of like a grassy area, something that you would see in like The Witcher, Kingdoms of Amalur, or Skyrim. We're trying to kind of create that old farmland vibe, that rural village town in the middle of nowhere. So essentially how the AI generates things is based off of, again, your room type. So we chose the village and then the field. So essentially it auto-populates clutter. If you're familiar with Sims terminology, it's clutter. Like the bushes, the pods, the hay, the trees, tables, beds, ladders, what have you. All that gets randomized depending on the room type and the size of the room. And then depending on the room type, it will generate, and I have a couple selections of different types of doors and walls and flooring to work with. But again, you can override everything. Like right here, we're gonna swap the door on the opposite side. We're actually gonna match the door from the other pen from the garden. And then we're gonna open them because you can, because this game, you can do a lot. And we're gonna try to put the horse somewhere near the door in the front to make it look like he's escaped. But I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg for what you can actually do. We're going to create a whole little town in front of this. This is just kind of like your starting area, your means, I guess. But we're going to properly build out a bunch of things. We put a smithy, and then we have bakery, and we're going to throw some farmsteads on each side. We're going to put a cabin in the back. And again, it's auto generating. Again, the speed build is actually going to show them a lot faster than they actually develop. But again, a lot of this is just to kind of get your ideas down. If you have a theme that you're trying to shoot for, but you're not necessarily the most creative at the very beginning, this is where a lot of the AI stuff helps. And again, the AI, you can hit the little what looks like a refresh arrow or reload. You can hit those, and what it does is it retains your wall style, but it will change the clutter around every time. So if you hit that, you just keep on hitting it, it will change how the layout is. Because again, the rooms vary. And what I like about the village thing is you can add alleys. One game that is extremely pronounced in the very beginning, the first maybe several hours, is a Greedfall. If you've ever played that, there's a lot of altercations and a lot of traversing around in alleyways, and it really kind of sets the whole vibe of what this, like, it really connects everything together, is probably a better way of describing it here. Yeah, I'm not really going down here feng shui or trying to count down the blocks here to make everything matchy, but as you can see later on, things are going to be a little askew and whatnot. But I mean, it is what it is. We're just throwing down some examples here of what you can do, because as of right now, it doesn't really look so much like a D&D thing as more like a Sims 4 town. Everything just kind of separated from each other, but between the alleyways, it will connect everything together. And that's kind of like when you build these things, you're trying to imagine how it would look on a board game. Because what you can do is on here, you can do some B-roll kind of thing if you want to do like a video package, because you can save as MP4, and you can also save as an image, and then you can take the file format if you so choose, and you could drop it into your favorite virtual tabletop. So if you're someone who wants to play like on Meet or Skype or some other means of playing with your friends, you can sure as heck play with a Dungeon Alchemist map. So yeah, this is basically just redoing your whole map. Say your game's getting a little stale, or you want to display a new area. That's where something like a Dungeon Alchemist comes into play, because you can theme so many things. Later on, I'll actually show you a quick clip. We're not going to go into a whole speed build of them. We're gonna mostly show you like the end result of it. But I did 2 other scenes that are completely different from what this one is. This is a grasslands, then we're gonna do a badlands, which is a very kind of dry desert type of environment. We chose a lakeside, and that will be on the offshoot. I want to say, I think it's on the right side. So we built like a little makeshift dock and like a disheveled looking boat. We eventually threw like a little fire, like something caught on fire. And then we also put some tokens on the ground too. Those are like little characters to kind of just fill it out. Like normally you probably wouldn't do that, especially if you're taking this into your own virtual tabletop. But for me to display this thing, you're gonna probably want to put some sort of character somewhere here, whether it's animal props or if it's a hero or a monster token somewhere. You kind of just want to, I mean, sometimes it helps for size, because in the 3rd build that we're going to show at the very end of this is again, it's not a speed run, but we'll kind of give it like an overhead view of everything, what it looks like. It's a cavern. It's really cool. And that one I chose to more of like kind of like a mushroom, like a vegetation kind of thing, and that actually has a river running through the middle of it. So we kind of get 3 different tastes of what you can do with water. I mean, there's so many other things you can do. You can do islands, you can do lakes, but I really like what this one is, just kind of like your flat plains, grasslands. I didn't want to do any hills. They can make it a little difficult at times to try to drop buildings on. Just you have to play with the terrain a lot, because you can terraform in this game, but you have to kind of flatten and smooth out the terrain to make things manageable and reach each other. I think it's more aesthetic than anything, because at the end of the day, it's not a video game. You're not going to be walking through it, even though you can, because if you put a token down, you can look first person and walk around your little design that you did and see if it works out. But yeah, this is just kind of like my rudimentary basic, let me just kind of get a concept out there, just so it kind of gets your juices flowing, because watching other people who created things on YouTube really got my juices flowing as to what I want to do in this. And it helps a lot, because you can see what you can do, what you can't do, and you can run with it, because there's a lot in this. Like, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but you can tap into Steam Workshop, where there's like thousands of other little things that you can add to this, whether it's decorations, it's structural utilities, props like food and drink items. You can add all sorts of things. You can also expand your tokens with your heroes, your monsters, and whatnot. Throw in on your tabletop layout, and there's a lot you can do. And at the end of this speed build, we'll actually show you the lighting effects, because you could change the time of the day. So as you can see, there's actually animations with the candles and the torches and the lanterns and whatnot. So you can actually see if you really want to build that nighttime perspective, or that dark cave or something, you can really manipulate a lot of the lighting, change it to, you could honestly put it morning, afternoon, evening, night. I think are your 4 options. They could change them around, and it's so much you can do. There's a lot you can do in this game. You're really only limited to your imagination, essentially. With the digital ones, you could expand and make as big of a map as you want to do. You could make smaller ones that are just kind of disjointed but still work in the same thing, or you could just make kind of like this overseeing map that has everything displayed on it. You're just now at that point limited to what your computer can actually handle when you're creating things, because that would make a lot of assets that could really clog up your computer. But outside of that, man, this is a lot going on here. I don't remember, but I think our bear got taken away when we built the alleyway to the left side right next to the graveyard. I didn't notice that until now. But yeah, as you can see, adding that alley kind of fit the whole like structure, everything. Now you kind of put everything together, and then we have the cobblestones that are leading to the farm and the little village area. And this is our Badlands map, which this is kind of like your top down if you were going to make it into digital top down or printout. And right now we're playing with the lighting effects, so you can kind of see how the lanterns and the fire changes depending on what time of the day it is. So here's kind of like your 3D effect version of it. We added a little fire where the boat is, kind of look like it's a hazard. And we created a stone pathway so the players can actually have some sort of pathing that they can get through the scene. And here we're focusing on all the little details like the coins and the key that opens up the treasure on the dock. We added a little extra lighting so they had a little more of effect at night when they glowed. So yeah, this is a completely different map of what we just went through with the village. Like, you're only limited to your imagination with this. And again, we added some hero tokens on the ground here, so you can kind of get the full effect of scale and figure out what you can and can't do. I mean, some of these rooms are probably tiny for what they are, but it's just as a showcase, just to kind of give you some sort of ideas as what you can do with the software. I think a couple times I referenced it as a game. It's not a game, it's like software, it's a program. So that being said, now let's go check out the cavern. Your top-down look of what the cavern is. And a lot of this was AI generated. I mean, I added a lot of aesthetics to it, like the bridges, added more mushrooms, your alchemy table in the corner, added a few tokens here and there just to kind of give it some more ambiance, added the crater in the middle. So we put some fireflies here to represent where the terraformed stairway is, because again, we're going underground, so I built that around and used the terraforming features, the terrain features in this game to kind of mold it around that, which it worked out perfectly. Then we did the same thing on the opposite side. Right now you're looking at the orgs, and here's your alchemist and your alchemy table. And I love the blue mushrooms. They give me that Kingdoms of Amalur vibe, if you've ever played that game. And here's your solid bridge, as opposed to the opposite side being the shortest distance, but unfortunately it's a destroyed bridge. But anyway, guys, this was Dungeons Alchemist, and thank you to Briganti and Pirate PR for the game key. We'll catch you in the next one.